Hello students, welcome to the another lecture of solid state. We will discuss in this lecture about electrical and magnetic properties of solid crystalline substances. First we will discuss about electrical properties in solid crystalline substances. As you know that we classify different substances on the basis of their electrical properties into three types: good conductors, insulators, and semiconductors. They are actually classified on the basis of range of electrical conductivities, which range from 10 raised to minus 20 to 10 raised to 7 ohm inverse meter inverse. Good conductor have range of conductivity from 10 raised to 4 to 10 raised to 7 ohm inverse meter inverse. Insulators have range of conductivity from 10 raised to minus 20 to 10 raised to minus 10 ohm inverse meter inverse. Semiconductors have range of 10 raised to minus 6 to 10 raised to 4 ohm inverse meter inverse. Okay, now the question arises, what about the range of 10 raised to minus 10 to 10 raised to minus 6 ohm inverse meter inverse? Depending upon the substances having valence electrons, energy gap between valence band and conductance band, temperature, and other external factors, they may be classified as insulators or as semiconductors. To understand what is meant by valence band, conductance band, energy gap, we will discuss energy band theory. Energy band theory also helps us to understand why substances are able to conduct electricity and why certain substances cannot. Energy band theory is also used to understand conductance of electricity through different compounds so that they can be classified into good conductors, insulators, or semiconductors. In solid substance, conductance is through electrons or voids. In energy band theory of solids, valence band, conductance band, forbidden band, which is also known as energy gap, are the three most important energy bands. First we will study the different types of bands and then the energy band theory. So first we will study what is meant by valence band. The energy band that consists of valence electron energy level is known as valence band. The valence band is also shown below the conductance band and has lower energy. Hence, according to Aufbau's principle for filling up the electrons, the valence electrons are first filled in valence band, that is, in lower energy level. These electrons are loosely bounded to the nucleus of an atom. The conductance band, the energy band that consists of free electrons energy level, is known as conductance band. For making electrons to be free, some external energy should be applied on them. It should be in such a way that the valence electron get pushed to the conductance band and become free. The third band, that is forbidden band. This band is also known as energy gap. This band is present between valence band and conductance band. The energy gap between the valence band and conductance band is known as forbidden band or energy gap. The electrical conductivity of solid is determined from the energy gap and also helps in classification of materials as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. As shown in the figure, pink colored shaded square boxes indicates valence band. Blue colored shaded boxes shows conductance band. And in between them, the energy gap is shown, which is also known as forbidden band. In the first figure, it is shown as valence band and conductance band overlaps each other. That means there is no gap between them. As a result, the electrons can flow very easily from valence band to conductance band on applying electrical field. So such solids are said to be as a good conductors. In second figure, it is shown that there is a small gap between valence band and conductance band. As a result, only certain electrons can jump from valence band to conductance band and show conductivity. Hence, such solids act as semiconductors. In the third figure, it is shown that there is a large gap between valence band and conductance band. Electrons cannot jump from valence band to conductance band very easily. So such solids act as insulators. The next topic we will discuss now is conductance of electricity in semiconductors. Electrical conductivity of semiconductors increases with increase in temperature. This is because electrons can jump from valence band to conductance band easily by gaining energy. Because of rise in the temperature, substances like silicon, germanium show such behavior. Hence, they are known as eccentric semiconductors. At normal temperature, conductivity of such eccentric semiconductors is very low that it is practically not possible to measure it or use it. Their conductivity can be increased by adding an appropriate amount of suitable impurities. This process of adding impurities to semiconductor is known as doping. Doping in semiconductor to increase its conductivity can be done by two different types of impurities added in it. First one, electron rich impurities, and the second, electron deficient impurities. Doping by electron rich impurities. By adding such impurities, they produce N type of semiconductors. Silicons and germaniums are the elements of group 14. They have 4 valence electrons in their outermost orbit. As shown in the figure, in the crystal, each atom forms 4 covalent bonds. Now, as shown in the second figure, when element of group 15 like phosphorus or arsenic, which have 5 electrons in their outermost orbit, are added as impurities, out of those 5 electrons, 4 of them forms covalent bond and the 5th electron becomes delocalized. This delocalized electron increases the conductivity. Thus, group 14 elements like silicon or germanium doped by electron-rich impurities are called N-type semiconductors. Next, doping done by electron-deficient impurities. By adding such impurities, they produce P-type semiconductors. In this process also, when silicon or germanium, which are the elements of the group 14, having 4 valence electrons, in their outermost orbit are doped by elements of the group 13 like boron, aluminum or gallium, which have 3 electrons in their outermost orbits as impurities, then these 3 electrons form 3 covalent bonds and the fourth valence electron is missing, which forms holes or electron vacancy. The electron moves towards the positive charged plate through these holes and increase the conductivity. Thus, group 14 elements like silicon and germanium doped by electron deficient impurities are called as p-type semiconductors. The next topic is application of n-type and p-type semiconductors. It is used to prepare n-type and p-type diodes, which are used as rectifiers. NPN or PNP type of transistors are used to detect or amplify radio and audio signals. To convert solar energy into electrical energy, photodiodes are used in solar cells. By combination of group 13-15 or 12-16, solid materials have been prepared which are used in place of semiconductors like silicon or germanium. Example for the group 13-15 are INSB, ALP, ASGA, etc. Examples for the group 12-16 are ZNS, CDS, CDSE, HGTE, etc. As transition metals have variable oxidation states, they have different number of electrons in their orbitals, hence show differences in electrical properties. TiO, CrO3, ReO3 behaves like metal, whereas VO, VO2, VO3, TiO3 shows metallic or insulating properties depending on temperature. Specific example of ReO3 has an appearance as well as conductivity as similar as metallic copper. The next property of the solid substance we will discuss is about magnetic properties. As we know that all the substances are made up of some atoms and each atom consists electrons which behaves like a tiny magnet. So every substance has some magnetic field. This magnetic moment which is generated in solid substances is due to its orbital motion around the nucleus and its spin around its own axis. The value of magnetic moment produced in those solid substances is very small. As a result, it is measured in the unit of Bohr magneton. Figure A shows magnetic moment produced due to orbital motion around the nucleus, while figure B shows magnetic moment produced due to spin around its own axis. The solid crystalline substances are classified into 5 types on the basis of their magnetic properties. They are paramagnetic substances, diamagnetic substances, ferromagnetic substances, antiferromagnetic substances, and ferrimagnetic substances. We will discuss each of them in detail one by one. Paramagnetic substances. These substances are weakly attracted by an external applied magnetic field. It gets magnetized in the presence of magnetic field and loses its magnetism in the absence of magnetic field. They have unpaired electrons present in their atomic orbitals. They are attracted from weaker to stronger magnetic field. These substances are used to prepare magnets as their magnetic susceptibility is slightly greater than 1. That is, the magnetic susceptibility is positive. Example of paramagnetic substances are O2, Cu plus 2, Fe plus 3, Cr plus 3, etc. as they are having unpaired electrons in their outermost orbits. Next, diamagnetic substances. These substances are repelled by the magnetic field. These substances have all electrons paired. As they have all paired electrons, the magnetic moments are cancelled. As a result, they lose their magnetic character. That is, their magnetic susceptibility is negative. Examples of diamagnetic substances are H2O, NaCl, C6H6, etc. Next, ferromagnetism. Ferromagnetic substances are strongly attracted by the magnetic field. In solid state, the metal ions of ferromagnetic substances are grouped together into small regions called domains. These domains act as a tiny magnets. When these substances are placed in external magnetic field, all the domains are oriented in the direction of magnetic field. Their order remains even when the external magnetic field is removed. Hence, these substances are used in preparing permanent magnets. They show magnetic dipole maximum. Examples of ferromagnetisms are Fe, Co, Ni, Gd, CrO2. CrO2 is specifically used to prepare magnetic tapes for audio and video films. Next, antiferromagnetism. Antiferromagnetic substances have domain structure similar to ferromagnetic substances but are in opposite oriented in absence of applied magnetic field. They cancelled out each other's magnetic moment and thus the magnetic dipole is zero. Example of antiferromagnetism is MnO. Last, ferrimagnetism. Ferrimagnetism is observed when the magnetic moment of the domains in the substances are aligned in parallel and anti-parallel direction in unequal numbers after removing external magnetic field. They are weakly attracted towards magnetic field. On heating these substances, they lose their magnetism and become paramagnetic in nature. The magnetic dipole is neither zero nor maximum. Example of ferrimagnetic substances are Fe3O4, MgFe2O4, Zn Fe2O4, etc. That's all in the chapter. Some practice questions of these topics are given here. Try to solve them. As we have completed the chapter, write all the in-text and exercise questions given in the textbook and learn them. If you have now any other doubts, then contact me onto the phone number as shown on your screen.